Section 1.1A-7. Without computing each sum, we want to find which is greater, O or E, and by how much. But the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how many terms there are in O and how many terms there are in E. So, number one, we're going to call that 1 for O. So we're going to find out how many terms there are. Now remember, N is going to equal the last term, which is 97, minus the first term, which is 3, divided by the common difference. Well, the difference between 5 and 3 is 2. The difference between 5 and 7 is 2, and so on. And then we're going to add 1. So therefore, we get N, which is equal to 94 divided by 2 plus 1. And therefore, N is going to equal 47 plus 1. And therefore, the sum of the terms is 48. Okay, now let's take a look at E. We're going to call that 2 here. So for 2, we're going to follow the same procedure. The last term is 100. We're going to subtract the first term, which is 6. We're going to divide it by the common difference, and you can see that the common difference is also 2. And then we're going to add 1. 100 minus 6 is 94 divided by 2 plus 1, which also gives us 47 plus 1. And therefore, N is going to equal 48. Okay, so now, if we examine both O and E, we notice that every term in E is exactly, in this case here, first, before we move into that, both of the terms is 48. Now, if you look at examining both O and E, notice that every term in E, right? So if you look at 6 in E and look at 3 in O, well, E is 3 greater, right? Same thing in the next set. 8 is 5 and 8. The difference between 5 and 8 is 3. The difference between 10 and 7. So that means that E is exactly 3 greater than the corresponding term in O. Now again, since there are 48 terms in E and O, and adding 3 to each term of O produces the terms of E. So this would be the equivalent to adding the following. We would say 48 times that number 3, which is equal to 144 to O. Now, drawing a conclusion based on this resulting equation, we would get the following. That means O plus 144 would equal E. Therefore, we can say the following, that E is greater than O by the amount of 144.